You must be the entity that figured out where our target was. Is that verifiably true?
What? Did you call me a stinky penguin?
No, but I know a guy who could get you one.
I can hear your thoughts. Stop! I am Dracula!
A game like no other. Have you ever stepped into a world so strange, so surreal, that you couldn't quite understand what was happening, but you couldn't look away either? ENA. Dream BBQ is not just another game, it's an experience, a journey, that will twist your mind, confront your senses, and leave you with more questions than answers. This is not the kind of game that guides you along a familiar path. No, this is something different, something strange, something beautifully strange.
Hope you don't mind, but could you tell me?
Where the hell is the box?
The moment you dive into Dream BBQ, you're thrust into an unsettling silence. No flashy introduction screens, no guiding voice to tell you where to go or what to do. Just you in a world that feels at once alien and nostalgic, like a digital landscape pulled from a fever dream, filled with echoes of the 90s and memories of the earliest days of the internet. It's a place where the rules don't make sense, and you're left to navigate its chaos on your own. And while that might sound terrifying, there's an undeniable draw, a magnetism that keeps you moving forward, deeper into the unknown. Art, it's a collage. A chaotic, beautiful mess that mirrors the fragmented nature of memories, digital history, and forgotten corners of the internet. Everywhere you look, there's something familiar, yet warped. Colors, textures, and shapes collide in ways you didn't think were possible, creating a sense of disorientation, yet you can't help but feel that it's all part of some grand design. But here's where the magic lies. Dream. BBQ isn't here to be understood. It's not here to offer answers. It's a game that invites you to simply experience it, to lose yourself in its surreal world and let your mind wander, even if you're not entirely sure what's happening. The deeper you go, the more you'll feel it. A creeping sense of isolation. Like you're not just exploring a strange world, but that the world itself is exploring you. And every twist, every bizarre encounter, feels like an invitation to question everything you thought you knew about games, art, and reality itself. This is a game that doesn't hold your hand. It challenges you, makes you uncomfortable, forces you to confront your own confusion. But that's the beauty of it. Dream. BBQ doesn't give you answers. Instead, it makes you want to find your own. It taps into something deeper, something universal. It's a game about trying to make sense of a world that doesn't quite make sense. It's about the battle within, the struggle to navigate chaos, and the pull of curiosity that drags you further in. So, what's waiting for you in ENA, Dream BBQ? Maybe it's the answers you're looking for, or maybe it's the questions themselves that will keep you coming back for more. Either way, you're in for a ride that will leave you questioning everything, long after the screen fades to black. A world built on chaos and nostalgia step into ENA Dream BBQ, and you're immediately swept into a world that feels both hauntingly familiar and entirely alien. For anyone who's ever been mesmerized by the chaotic beauty of 90s internet culture, this game is a visual love letter to that era, a fever dream painted in pixelated nostalgia. It's as if the game was designed to resurrect a forgotten corner of the digital world, blending the aesthetics of early internet culture with the wild, unrestrained creativity of that time. You'll find yourself lost in a landscape that feels like an abandoned digital museum where each corner of the world is adorned with relics from the past. The visuals in Dream BBQ are a chaotic tapestry, flashes of LSD Dream Emulator. Here, quirky Zelda CDI, animations there, and a hint of Microsoft Paint art thrown in for good measure. It's a collision of retro video game graphics, early digital art, and an uncanny sense of weirdness that makes the world feel like a fever dream from a time gone by. There's a sense of fragmentation everywhere you look, as if the game is piecing together the remnants of a forgotten digital landscape. Yet in its disarray, there's an underlying cohesion. Somehow it all comes together, oddly beautiful and almost intoxicating in its strangeness. but the visuals are only half the story. ENA, Dream BBQ, takes you beyond mere aesthetics and invites you into a digital collage of genres, media, and languages. The characters in the game speak in fractured tongues. One moment it's English, the next it's Japanese, followed by Russian or Italian. This jumbled, disjointed dialogue adds to the feeling that you're witnessing a strange, fragmented conversation between characters from entirely different worlds. Each utterance feels like a snippet of an ongoing dialogue that's just barely within reach, a puzzle you can't quite piece together, and that's exactly the point. This collision of genres and languages, this constant clash of visual and auditory styles isn't accidental. It's what gives the game its surreal quality. ENA, Dream BBQ, isn't about making sense, it's about feeling. The game immerses you in a world where nothing is as it seems, and everything is deliberately out of place. It's this sense of confusion, of not quite understanding, that makes Dream BBQ so alluring. The chaos isn't a flaw, it's part of the experience. It beckons you to dive deeper, to explore further, and to feel the edges of your understanding stretch. You're not meant to find a clear answer. Instead, you're meant to immerse yourself in the questions. What is this world you've entered? Who are these characters? And most of all, what does it all mean? The beauty of ENA, Dream BBQ, lies in the fact that the answers don't matter. It's not about resolution or clarity, it's about the experience itself. The game pulls you into a whirlwind of visual and sensory overload, and you can't help but keep going, driven by the inexplicable feeling that the journey itself is the meaning you've been searching for. Gameplay, a puzzle wrapped in surrealism. ENA, Dream BBQ, isn't just an abstract experience, it's an unpredictable adventure that keeps you on your toes, demanding your attention and curiosity at every turn. The gameplay mechanics blend surrealism with practical design in a way that feels both confusing and strangely satisfying. At first glance, it may appear to be like any other adventure game, with simple tasks like retrieving items or solving basic puzzles. But this game doesn't play by the rules you might expect. You might be tasked with finding something as mundane as a jar of mayonnaise, but don't be fooled. What seems like a simple culinary quest is, in fact, a strange tactical puzzle. The mayonnaise doesn't exist to satisfy hunger, but rather to obscure someone's view, to block them from seeing something crucial. It's a quirky, offbeat challenge that plays with the player's expectations. The more you immerse yourself in this world, the more you realize that the tasks and puzzles are abstract. There are no clear instructions or obvious solutions. Instead, you're left to piece things together, trying to understand a world that constantly bends its own rules. The game thrives in its refusal to follow conventional gameplay logic. What you're doing next often feels unclear, and the sense of disorientation only deepens the further you explore. But this confusion isn't without purpose. Dream BBQ intentionally leads you through this chaotic landscape, providing just enough guidance to keep you from feeling completely lost. The game nudges you in subtle ways, offering gentle clues that help you progress without ever fully revealing the answers. This delicate balance of surreal exploration and structured guidance is what makes ENA Dream BBQ so fascinating. It constantly challenges you, offering a layer of unpredictability that you can't quite shake, yet never leaves you completely stranded. In this strange world, the real joy comes from the journey itself. It's a game that encourages you to embrace confusion, to enjoy the absurdity, and to follow your instincts as much as your logic. But while the game's surreal nature is front and center, the underlying game mechanics keep things grounded. Despite the chaos, there's a structure. Tasks are achievable, puzzles solvable, but only if you're willing to let go of your conventional gaming expectations and allow yourself to be swept away by the experience. You're never truly lost, but you're constantly on the edge of your understanding, which is what makes the journey feel so uniquely satisfying. ENA, Dream BBQ isn't about the destination. It's about how you navigate this bizarre, dreamlike world and uncover the beauty in its unpredictability. The art of sound and visuals, a symphony of oddities, if the world of ENA. Dream BBQ feels like a fever dream held together by strings of tangled thought. Then its sound design is the chaotic wind that keeps it afloat. The visuals are a jigsaw, puzzle of disjointed yet striking elements, but the sound. The sound is the pulse that drives it forward, an ever-changing symphony of confusion that mirrors the game's eccentricity. The soundtrack shifts rapidly between genres, making it impossible to settle into any one mood. One moment, you're immersed in a sweeping orchestral piece, lush and grand, making you feel like you're part of a whimsical fantasy. The next, you're jolted into a glitchy, dissonant nightmare where the music warps and cracks like an old vinyl, skipping on a turntable. This constant shift in tone plays with your sense of reality, leaving you in a state of unease. The music isn't just a backdrop, it's an active participant in the experience, enhancing the feeling of disorientation and keeping you on edge. But it's not just the music that creates this sense of chaos. The voice acting in ENA is as bizarre as the world itself. Characters don't simply speak, they glitch, stutter, and fragment. Their voices shift between clarity and distortion, oscillating between languages that are sometimes comprehensible, but more often not. You might hear a word in English, then a jumbled string of Japanese, followed by a burst of random grunts or gibberish. The dialogue feels like you're eavesdropping on a conversation between entities from different dimensions, where each voice is fighting to be heard but is muffled by the surreal world they exist in. This disjointed style isn't just for effect, it deepens the immersion. The strange rhythms and incomprehensible tones of the voices pull you deeper into the game's madness, forcing you to listen more intently, to sift through the noise to catch the fragments of meaning hidden beneath the surface. It's as if the voices are trying to communicate something important, but the very medium they use to speak is fractured by the digital world they exist within. Together, the sound and visuals create an overwhelming experience, a sensory overload that never lets you get too comfortable. You're kept on edge, unsettled yet fascinated. There's no lull, no safe zone to rest in. The game constantly challenges you to keep moving, to keep deciphering. It pulls you into its chaotic embrace, keeping you engaged but never quite, giving you the full picture. Every moment is an invitation to discover something new, but with the understanding that the more you uncover, the more confusing it becomes. In ENA, Dream BBQ, the art of sound and visuals doesn't just complement the game, it becomes part of its very identity, adding layers of depth to a world that is as captivating as it is perplexing. The surreal legacy of ENA. What's next? ENA, Dream. BBQ isn't a game that hands you neatly tied up answers. It leaves you with more questions than you ever thought possible. And that's exactly the way it's designed. The first episode ends not with a resolution, but with a sense of unfinished chaos, an abrupt stop that only fuels your curiosity. It's like being left at the edge of a cliff, peering into a vast, surreal abyss, and all you want to do is jump deeper, unsure of what awaits you. This fragmented, incomplete feeling doesn't feel like a flaw. It's a part of the game's magic. The story doesn't unfold in front of you. It wraps around you, pulling you into its bizarre world where the experience itself is the true journey, not the destination. The episodic nature of Dream BBQ amplifies this sense of anticipation, each episode leaving you with just enough of the story to keep you coming back for more. You're never quite satisfied, always wanting to know what happens next, yet finding the answers just out of reach. The episodic release model works perfectly here, creating a cycle of hunger and satisfaction where each new piece of the puzzle adds to the allure. The fact that the first episode is free? That's an invitation to step into the unknown without hesitation, with the promise that once you're in, you'll be hooked. The unpredictability, the outlandish characters, and the absurd quests keep you constantly on edge, but it's this very unpredictability that makes you want to keep playing. Dream BBQ thrives on its ability to simultaneously confuse and delight. It's a game that resists traditional explanations, preferring instead to leave you immersed in its abstract, chaotic world. There's no need to understand it for it to be enjoyable. The joy comes from being in it, experiencing the bizarre, sometimes funny, and often jarring universe ENA has crafted. If you're a fan of abstract art, dark humor, or simply love to challenge your own perceptions of reality, then ENA Dream. BBQ is a game you cannot afford to miss. It's not just a game, it's a mind-bending journey that continuously evolves with each new release. And for those brave enough to embrace the madness, what awaits is an experience unlike any other. It's a surreal ride that promises to leave you reflecting long after the screen fades to black, eagerly awaiting the next chapter in a world where nothing is quite what it seems.
Hast thou seen that? Fighting each other for thy attention, creating a path to the correct hut for the sinful souls whom arrive to this unfortunate place. I know not which one to trust, which tells the truth. So tired I am of lies. The lighter orange seems desperate to have thy attention, though it doesn't bother me that much. Despite everything, green always seemed to me a rather poisonous color.
I told you! Green